Hi, everybody. As you can see, I'm in my car. I'm actually running errands. I just paid $10.28 for some eggs. Yes, it's expensive. So I decided I would just go ahead and film this since I'm still waiting on some folks and there's no telling when I will be home. So I have 3 books I wanted to discuss with you today. The first one is called What a Beautiful Thing to Behold. It is a psychological suspense drama that centers around a small town called Palam. I think based off the author's background, I think it's a fictional village somewhere in West Africa. You have this deadly virus called the Gray that has been around for about 2 years, and it's affecting and killing all of the adults. However, all of the children in the village are immune. The Gray causes your body and your mind to essentially just rot, and eventually the person affected commits suicide. The book follows a young family of 4 kids, age ranging from I think like maybe 14 to 20. And it follows their struggles through holding their family together, through hunger, violence, relationships, new experiences, death, and uncertainty, and other insights. Overall, I felt that this was a good book. This book actually gave me Doomsday vibe. It's that movie where you have this Reaper virus that is going around killing people. So the government decides to contain the virus. They wall off the city and leave the other people to basically rot and succumb to the disease. So I felt it was very similar. I think that there was good characterization in the book. Each chapter is told from a different main character's point of view, and there's an overlap in all the events that happen, so you can actually see an event through different people's eyes. So I thought that was really interesting to see. I think that all of the characters are on a journey to find their purpose in life and where they fit in, especially in this new world, since as youngsters, they're having to grow up really, really quickly. I think in order to have that personal growth, they have to go through different situations. And some of them is helping other people. Some are losing themselves and able to find themselves, taking on responsibilities. I think leaving home is a big one. I think a lot of us can resonate with that of you don't really know who you are until you've actually left where you come from and discover something new. Letting go of the past is definitely important as well. So I think that there's a lot of personal growth that all of the characters do, and you see that in the end. I did feel the book was very suspenseful, and I was left gasping, waiting for some sort of action to happen, and I did feel very much let down. I didn't think a whole lot actually happened in the book, and that's, I guess, more of what I look for. However, there is a lot of symbolism. I felt that the author was very wordy, very vivid in a lot of the descriptions of almost any and everything. There was like pages of descriptions, which I felt that I was kind of skipping over at parts. And I think the descriptions were really nice. It was just a lot. I felt that at times there was too much, and then at other times I felt there was too little. I did think that the ending had a satisfying ending. However, I guess I was left questioning why. So there's definitely some symbolism there. I'll let you decide for yourself. If you read this book, give me some feedback in the comments and let me know what you think. I think that overall, this is a good book club book. There's so many different things in the book about family, about finding yourself, about heroism, about violence and leadership, just so many different things. I don't want to give any spoilers, but I think that this is a really good book that is good to break apart, and I think people would really enjoy it to discuss it in a group. The other 2 books that I read are actually by an author called Paige, Dearth. She writes a lot of sensitive material, I'll say that. She was actually abused as a child, and so she incorporates a lot of real life horror stories into her books. I also like that her books are centered in and around the Philadelphia area because, that's where I'm at, and that's actually where she lives as well. The first book I read by Paige Dearth is called One Among Us. It's about an 11-year-old named Maggie who is abducted from the mall while she is shopping with her mother. After Maggie is abducted from the mall, she's sex trafficked in a lot of different settings. And then she finds friendships in many different ways with different people, including a little boy that she winds up raising. The book also follows her parents as well as a detective who has a very personal connection to her story, and it follows how they are looking for her and trying to bring her home. I like that this book is told from multiple POVs. It's actually multiple points of view in one chapter as well. So you have a lot of different thoughts and fears that are going on. So you get to see all the different sides when someone goes missing. In the book, you see a lot of horrors of sex trafficking. However, I do think that the author toned a lot of that down so that our innocent ears, if you will, can actually stomach reading a book like this that has so many horrific things that happens to a child. And I think I really appreciate that, because I don't know if I would have been able to get through this book if it would have been so in your face and very graphic. I appreciated that the author trafficked Maggie through so many different types of situations, because I think too often in the United States we don't think that there are certain things going on, and this book exposed me to that and made me open my eyes into the depravity of what actually occurs in the United States. I also felt that she incorporated like drugs and murder and mafia crime. It's just a lot that was going on in the book, and I felt like a certain amount of reality was lost. Not to give anything away, I feel like Maggie was left to her own devices quite often. And when you have girls that are trafficked, normally that form of control, is exerted over them, so they're kept tabs on. And I felt that Maggie had just a bit more freedom than I probably would have expected. I think that overall this was a good book. However, I did not feel emotional connection with the characters. I felt the characters themselves were a bit cut and dry for me. However, what was happening and the theme of the book, I did feel very strongly about. And the last thing that I want to say about One Among Us is that don't ever believe that that'll never happen to me and not my child if you do have kids. Because Maggie was lured from the mall in a very innocent way, and truthfully, many of the other characters in something very similar. And you can teach your child, you can love your child. However, for some people, the reality is that this may happen to them. And I think that the best thing you can do is just be there and be a listening ear to anyone that needs your help. Well, I guess we're going to be talking about this other book since I'm still waiting. My Final Breath is a psychological suspense thriller that follows Molly, who is a 12-year-old who has been suffering for the last 4 years from a debilitating illness, one after the other, and she's finally died. So the book follows Molly and her transition guardian while she's in limbo, and they're looking through all these past scenes of her life, and they're discovering deception, lies, and abuse that detail how she ended up sick and how she ended up dead. Then she realizes that whoever killed her is actually harming someone else close to her, and she's feeling helpless and trying to figure out if there's anything that she can do to be able to help this other person so they don't suffer the same fate that she did. I felt that it gave me Lovely Bones and What Dreams May Come vibes. Those are both really good books. Lovely Bones is about a young girl who's died prematurely, like Molly, and she is in the afterlife looking down on her life. And What Dreams May Come follows a guy who has died that's traipsing through heaven and hell to discover, what happened to his wife. But anyway, good movies. I suggest you check them out. Another thing that I want to say is that you discover very early on, I would say page 2, exactly what's going on. And then the book kind of progresses and tells you the details from there. So I think the book is more of the journey of what happened and discovering versus who did it, because you already know. We'll say that what happened to her, this character Molly, was very heartbreaking. I had to take several breaks to get through it, and who did it was actually extremely heartbreaking as well. It's just something that you don't expect, and it makes you question, do you really know someone? At some point, it also makes you want to strangle someone. At some points, I was like, no, what the hell? It's just one of those type books that really gets a rise out of you, and I think that that is the author's intention by far. I do think that it was written very well and was very suspenseful. So I think the author did a great job. I think that it was very wordy. I think that it took me longer to get through it than I expected. And I also found myself skipping over a lot of sections just to get through it because I felt it was just very redundant in the emotions expressed. I think that some of the language used is a lot more mature, and maybe not necessarily in words, just in how the main character Molly spoke. She's a 12-year-old child, yet I felt at times she was speaking very mature. The Guardian is also a child. However, I would expect that of her since she's been dead for such a long period of time. I also felt that there was a lot of micro themes like sexual, physical abuse. There was homelessness, and it was incorporated really seamlessly. I think she does a really good job in educating on multiple topics in every book that she writes, and I do appreciate that. Overall, I did enjoy these books. I'm happy to be through with them. Especially the last two, I felt they were really heavy and talked about some real life horrors for sure. However, they are out there, and I don't like to bury my head in the sand. I like to educate myself on a lot of different topics. But good books for what they are, and I think they're definitely worth reads. Let me know if these are books that you do read. Leave me some comments below. I would love to discuss them. I think they're all discussion worthy books for sure. So hopefully, I might have to go back into Walmart and get them. Anyway, I'm going to go finish my errands, and I'm glad I did this since I had some time. So I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.